we're here at Warp Zone today, and I have my good buddy Jason from Basement Brigade Customs, and we have his latest work of art here, which has been in Carey's childhood dream since he was 8. I've always wanted a humongous Scorponok, since, of course, Fort Max is so unevenly matched to fight his nemesis here. Where as a child, the fact that Scorponok was half his size, I just figured it was a disadvantage right from the get-go. So I told Jason, I think about 3 months ago, that I sure would like a nice big Scorponok, and he was nice enough to help me out with it. And his labor of love has turned out very nice here. I'll let him introduce himself a little bit and talk a little bit about it as well.
Yeah, I'm Jason. We've been doing a lot of G.I. Joe customs, Transformer customs, and really glad to help Carey out with this one. We had a lot of fun doing it. We picked through tons of parts. It's basically, I guess you'd call it a kit bash, and this is what it turned out. And I guess Carey and I were going to go over some of the important features.
I think some of my favorite elements of it, Jason, I love the head. I think the head's a great homage to the original, while also having a good, like, cool modern look to it as well, and it scales nicely with the bot's increase in size. And I got to say that the tri-tail doesn't fail to impress either.
Yeah, yeah. The head, the main objectives that we're trying to do was getting a bigger head, obviously. And still could be even a little bigger than it is, but the original, just that small Headmaster didn't look right. And plus, Fort Max obviously had Cerebros, which is kind of a mid-range bot, bigger than a regular Headmaster. And so now Scorponok has a mid-range bot. Did you ever come up with a name for him?
We have not come up with a name, so maybe people watching this video, whenever you go ahead and comment on the Scorponok video, you could give us a suggestion as to what we should call. We have the full body of Scorponok that, of course, is piloted by the Headmaster Zarek, but we don't have a title for the mid-tier robot, as Jason said. So with this one, we have Fort Max, we have Cerebros, and then we have Spike.
Yeah.
So like, we'd like to think of a name to be Cerebros' counterpart on Scorponok, and we just kind of need to come up with something thematic that just seems fitting for, you know, a Decepticon equivalent of Cerebros. Maybe we could even have it be a play on words in that regard.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. So the major elements that you see, obviously he's far taller than a regular Scorponok, but we wanted to mimic Scorponok's gun, mimic his shield, have larger dual cannons that Scorponok's famous for.
And you're going to love the big scaled dual cannons.
And the legs were, it was really important to Carey to get really monster size insect type legs. And then
I always go with that Texas adage whenever it comes to Transformers.
Yeah. So okay, I guess we'll show you some of the features here. We ended up using almost every part of a G1 Scorponok other than the legs.
Which, I mean, some people might, you know, that might be something that someone can, you know, think of as a detraction from it, but I think it makes it look beautiful. Because obviously, you know, just using that original body, it's not like it's a recolor or something. This thing had to have some major surgery to become what he's become these days.
Yeah. And on top of that, we kept the transformation almost identical, which is nice. Parts aren't just coming off and coming back in some other arrangement.
Something that I want Jason to point out that I always love about some of the customs he does is his use of magnets. As you'll see here, he likes to implement magnets sometimes. It's just like a nice little simple way to place an accessory or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love it over the snap-on method because, I mean, how often do you have a little peg that just gets loose?
Or breaks.
I mean, tabs that I love. And I mean, I would love to see this from major manufacturers now. I mean, I know there's a Unicron statue that the Rodimus attaches via magnets.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would not mind. I mean, I know most people don't like to see detachable parts on Transformers, period, but an accessory is different.
Plus, you don't have as much issue with the paint wearing off.
Yep. Because you're not rubbing it against another piece of plastic, basically.
We used a high luster chrome paint for these parts, which would have been chromed.
It turned out really great. And maybe like down the road in future customs, if anybody wants, we could use actual chrome. But for Carey's taste, he's fine with the paint.
So let's maybe show everyone the head.
Which I think I might be the most impressed with the head over anything else, Jason, because I know what this donor bot was, and I know what it looks like now. So he's He's come a ways.
It plugs into the normal spot where the Headmaster does, and
he does trigger the stats, I do believe, too.
Yeah, he does. You want to see that real quick?
Let's see that. Oh, there's Zarek hiding inside. Yep, so we have the stats. It doesn't trigger the intelligence, but we were honestly just impressed it triggered them, period, because we weren't even intentionally doing that.
Yeah, I didn't know which parts did what things. And so let's get Zarek out here, too.
So we add him to our little fellow here. But if anybody wants to play guess before we reveal who the actual bot is here, I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to lay this down because we're going to get ready to transform him into Scorpion mode, too.
We can point out some of his parts in that mode that are more featured in that mode.
Okay. Alright, just lay him down here.
Crush. And as you see, we also have a fast track here. Jason was really adamant about having a good fast track, and I'm glad that he pushed for it because it turned out great.
Okay, so transformation isn't too hard here. Yeah, actually have a lot of options with this figure because he's got a lot of posability.
And he looks great in bot mode. And I'm sure once he's in bot mode that people will be able to guess who it is, but I mean, you would never guess otherwise.
Well, you have to be pretty knowledgeable.
You do. I agree with
that. I didn't even know about this figure until we were working on the project. So Lord Zarek plugs into the Headmaster body here, just kind of like Spike does with Cerebros. And these legs come forward. I'm not going to do the full transformation on the legs, but you'll get the picture here.
But if you want me to go ahead and spoil it for everybody, Jason, unless you would like to do the honors, who the donor bought for this Cerebros tier fellow
What's he called? Megabolt?
It's Megabolt from the RID series. Many people will know that he's been used in many Fort Max customs that I've seen, just because the head mode that has the legs does scale well with that size bot. So we thought it was a good start, and I gotta say, I'm so impressed from what Jason took it, what it was and what he made it into, because it already looked like a head, but he made it look like a Scorponok head instead of just a generic Decepticon head, essentially.
And we wanted it to use the Headmaster.
Yes.
And it stays on nice.
It does.
So you don't have any problems with it falling
And that
out.
is an original Zarek that we've
Yeah, we did
utilized.
use an original Zarek.
And I mean, you gotta have him because he's just cool.
Okay, so this is Fast Track, his little drone helper. And we just made a couple of guns for him. And he generally just folds up. The original version, the arms just come off.
Yeah, you just pull them right off.
But this one, you can fold the hands up. You could probably put the arms in a couple of different positions. And then the legs just turn around and tuck underneath here. So, like so, and you can arrange it in a lot of different ways. And again, we've employed magnetism here.
Love it.
I'll show you the main gun here. We wanted it to be huge. It's about twice the size of a normal Scorponok gun. Just wanted to show the comparison of Cerebros with his Headmaster versus this new Scorponok mid-tier Headmaster with Lord Zarek. So they scale up real nice. You could really see.
Nice fair fight. It's not one guy's half the size of the other one.
Exactly. And then we wanted the guns to be also similar in size. Here's Fort Max gun versus now the new Scorponok gun, which is maybe even a little bit bigger, huh?
It is a little bit bigger than the Fort Max gun, which, again, it's comeuppance for having to, have to do the 50% scale versus them in childhood.
Yeah, and we're sticking with a bright orange and gray color scheme. Roughly similar in shape and size and characteristics.
And you want to point out like how you made the gun, or is that something you want to keep close to your vest?
That doesn't matter. Yeah, it's just made in 4 different parts from various vintage figures and pieces. And it does remove from the shield like Scorponok's gun is able to do. But
and that's what I thought was really cool too, is like when you came up with that gun, I was like, oh man, where did you find a gun that looks so cool? And you were like, oh, I built it out of 4 things. I was like, yeah.
So, and then here's the shield comparison, and just wanted to get something, again, similar characteristics, but you don't find something that does this very easily. So this is what we ended up
And I
coming
think
up
that
with.
this was a great thing.
You want to tell them what it is?
This is a great outside the box moment because if anyone hasn't recognized it yet, this is a Mighty Max playset.
Yeah.
And I mean, at first when I saw it, I was like, oh, interesting. And then when I saw it on him, I mean, it looks amazing.
It's a comparison of Fast Track. You got the original 6 wheels, orange guns, same. So then there's a comparison of the piece that goes on the leg. It's also a component in the city mode, the shield, and then the comparison of the different guns that we have that are dual cannon guns.
Which there's a kind of a variety. There's like 2 different sets of them, which I think is kind of neat as well.
Yeah.
But you can see definitely the scale up of this
2 different
stuff.
kinds, and they attach in 2 different ways.
Yep.
Transformation there to Scorpion mode. We want to get the arms as far to the front as we can and turn them. Oh, that one pops off a little. We pop it right back on. Okay.
And what I love too that I don't think we showed off in robot mode is the articulation that you put onto this claw rest here, Jason, if you wouldn't mind taking a pause to show that off as well. But we'll go ahead and fold out all of the Scorpion legs here. And if I'm guessing a lot of people can guess, you know, a lot of you toy guys out there should know what these are. And if you don't, you won't be surprised after we tell you that we had a Spydor laying around the store for quite some time, and He-Man stuff has been a little slower selling for us around here, so it just kind of clicked into my head that it would be beautiful for Scorponok legs.
Tail. He is so big, he's a little hard to work with at first, but once you get him settled down, it's not so bad. This one just reattaches it. They pop on. Okay, so this is his gun hand, and we did put an extra joint in there. So
Jason wanted him to be able to actually aim his weapon instead of just shooting blindly and wildly into the air.
Okay, so then the legs, they fold up like normal. Of course, we got those gigantic feet.
But they do fold up real nice onto his back.
And they kind of fill in the gap there, too, between
the smaller section of leg.
And it does click down into its original positions. So. Okay. And then the tail has an extra extension to get it back to the proper distance. And then it plugs into the original ports at the back of the legs.
Very cool. This is something I was not aware of until you showed it to me now.
Okay.
The tail is one of my favorite parts too, just because it's just so epically big, and it is basically, I was like, let's just take both Scorponok tails and make a stupid big Scorponok tail.
Okay. And then there's the hatch. It goes where Lord Zarek rides. And then we'll convert the head. The head, you have a couple of options, but essentially we decided to go with these legs kind of acting like pincers. So get them in their proper form here. If I do it right, if I can remember. And then use the same joint. I guess there's a couple of different ways that we could do that. Maybe I have it upside down. Yep. Let me change that real quick. You'd think I would know what I was doing.
Well, he's been out of your possession for a little while now,
Yeah.
so.
And those can still be used.
What's funny is, like, when I was a kid, I always used the orange ones like the pincers too, but now you have the option for the longer pincers. But when I was a kid, I always folded those antennae down because I was always thinking, like, oh, well, that's what he eats with.
It just plugs in, and, you know, however you want to arrange those. So.
And that's the thing too, is there's a lot of display options because I have had it posed in different ways with this.
Okay. And then if you want to, you can, of course, you know, put a gun in here or something.
It makes me think of, like, the big gun from Final Fantasy VII. That's why I like having it there.
put these back on the side. They're designed to do that, and then these two guns plug into the original place where the guns normally did in the back. So there you go, Scorpion mode. Not too hard to do. Oh, there's the tail. Yeah, it does have a little electronic sound. You can. Okay, so that's Scorpion mode there. Again, you get a lot of flexibility.
No, we didn't mention about the claws.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're a combination of parts as well.
Do you want to tell them where?
We initially were kind of wondering how to scale those up, and I had a Rampage laying around in the back that was just a junker bot, and I thought, I mean, style-wise it didn't look right, but Jason then combined the larger, part of the claw portion with the original G1 one, and then matched the paint colors, and I think it turned out great. It definitely scaled it up enough that it looks right.
Definitely strong enough he can pick up a mid-sized figure.
Yep.
It makes for some cool displays.
Go ahead and show him the flip out of the barbed tail there.
Yeah, flip
and
it back
you fold
out.
it in. But I do love that tri-tail.
It's his trident, I guess.
Speaking of tridents, we know who else has a trident.
Did you ever catch that, Carey?
No.
I put little...
That's very cool. I did not. That's very cool. I love that. That's the
But
G.I. Joe base there that apparently Scorponok's attacking.
Yeah. And when he's in
Too bad for the Joes that day.
When he's in city mode, he can use that as his computer display.
That's very cool. No, I love it. Anything else you want to relay about Scorpion mode, Jason, besides the fact that it's humongous? Just to let people know here, this is about, the majority of a yardstick right here.
Yeah, it's
Scorpion mode.
The longest mode, especially if you wanted to lay the tail out.
Yeah, this is definitely...
You do have a couple of more joints in the tail, so that makes things a little more interesting. Alright, so we'll show the city base mode. Which
is one that I wasn't planning on being as impressed by as I actually am. It came out pretty well as well as the Scorpion mode.
Okay. So this front leg is something that we had to address, so I'm just gonna set it off for now. But
this is on the docket for repair. Jason has already modified his method of attaching these, and future customs will probably implement the new style. We'll be hinting at the next custom towards the end of the video here, if that's okay with Jason.
That's fine. So city mode's super simple. Once you have it in Scorpion mode, it's pretty much these little plates are on the... I have a couple little extra pieces on the legs.
They definitely give it a nice little
interesting.
added touch. It definitely adds to the appearance.
Legs come all the way over, and they flip upside down. And you can mess around with this and put it in a different position. Oh, gotta unplug the tail. And these are used for something else. So, okay. All right. So again, the guns attach in different places. Have the same different ports that open for Scorponok for this mode. You can get quite a few display options here.
And that's the thing about it, is it's kind of like whatever you feel like doing with a display, because you can kind of pose the parts in different ways to kind of give the city a different look.
Yeah, like...
I mean, you could do the same with all the original ones even. I would set mine up differently than, the kids down the street, and that was the way my city looked compared to their city.
There's a place where the shield attaches to this arm, and you can use that to hang this. I'm just doing it quickly here for the sake of the video. The gun detaches, and again, you can hang this off the side of the leg, or there's just so many different things. I think I've tried tucking this in here. And then, of course, you want your headmaster defending the city here. So
yeah, it's like a whole team of robots here anymore, because you have the city, the bot itself, the headmaster mid-tier Cerebros equivalent, the Zarek, and then you also have Fast Track. So you got like a little army in one robot.
yeah. So, and then there are attachments that we made to kind of simulate the same things that you had for the original Scorponok. We can plug this elevator piece over here. And then there's a couple of, again, I'm just doing this quickly for the sake of time. Got a little robot arm and a laser arm. And those are the main pieces that they had. Then there's we threw in a antenna. See, is that the port? Yep. And a searchlight. Figure he's a city, he needs a searchlight.
Gotta see the
incoming enemies.
Impending Autobot attacks.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's it was a lot of fun. Again, I think it turned out real nice, and happy with everything. Carrie's happy with it, so that's the important thing.
The 8-year-old inside of me is just flourishing today. Yeah, I think it was a great time working, with Jason to come up with some ideas of how, what we could use for parts. And Jason, he brought it all together and made a wonderful creation. And just to give a little teaser hint of what's to come, where we go from a custom 2-foot-tall Scorponok, Jason.
I don't know. Would this look nice in black?
Maybe with some gold highlights as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody keep that in mind, and look to the future of what's to come from the Basement Brigade and Warp Zone.